Well, hello and welcome to the program. This is Minority Opinions Podcast. I am Hito.
And I'm Ricardo, the breakfast sandwich loving fiend who was on the streets and is causing mayhem in Gotham.
And today we are talking DC movies. That's right.
DC movies, the thing you want to go see, but you feel like you shouldn't. We're going to be talking about two movies today that involve DC.
Yes, so Ricardo is going to be talking about Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, which is a lovely title.
I hate that title so much.
I love it.
I don't know, man. It's too long.
I loves it.
You know, your movie sounds better. The title is way better. Aquaman, yeah. That makes it tremendously better.
I like long titles. Give me more long titles, DC.
No, dude. Oh, my God. I don't know. But that's our lineup for the show today. But Hito and I have a major announcement for our channel.
Oh, yeah. Super major announcement.
We finally have our Patreon page.
Yeah!
Our stocks cost $500 each. So if you want to participate in our company, please invest.
Yes.
But in all honesty, Patreon page, as the goal listed, we're trying to go to a film festival over the summer, possibly. And Patreon page, it would usually help with one of us, like, to get either better equipment, better, platforming for our podcast, probably most likely better microphones and better, scenarios for recording. That's a small goal right now. Anything helps, and it would be a major contribution to the podcast.
Mm-hmm. So you can access our Patreon page on patreon.com/minorityopinions. So far, we have 3 levels, 3 tiers. But yeah, depending on demands or requests, we might put more levels. We'll see. But right now we have $1 level, which is just an early access, $4 level, which contains all the spoiler and some other extra stuff. Like we'll talk about trailers, we'll talk about presidential election, maybe.
Sure.
We will go beyond the world of cinema in that $4 section. And then the most expensive one is the $15 level. We called it a sponsor level. And basically you will get everything that the $1 and $4 levels get. And we will do private episodes, sponsor exclusive private episodes. And you get to participate in polls and you get to see posts. That's not just for the $15 level. Everyone who signs up for our Patreon page can participate in the polls and everything. I'm still trying to figure out how to manage that page. So
there's an instant link on the Instagram page if y'all are too lazy to go to the Patreon page. And you'll be supporting 2 minorities in the film industry with their podcasts. So you'll be a major contribution.
Do we want to quickly talk about the Oscars?
Yes. We'll keep it brief, but they got it right this year.
Yes. No Green Book this year, thank God.
Oh my God. In my head, I thought 1917 was going to sweep the awards, and I was like, oh God. I was like, after it won Best Sound Design, it was like, Best Sound Design? And I was like, Ford versus Ferrari. And it was like, 1917. I was like, what? 1917. It's like, what? Ford? It was like Ford or Star Wars. It had to be one of those two. But the 1917 one, I was like, okay, this is where it's going to start winning all the major awards. It's going to be the most boring award season ever. It didn't. Ford won 2, and then I was like, okay, this is good. And it won best was a special effects. That one really upset me. Yeah, I thought Avengers was going to win it. I was like, what? Avengers had such a complex endgame. Like, just by having Thanos by itself, that's already worth the Oscar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Parasite swept all 4. Well, if it won Best Original Screenplay, which that's a good sign that it will win Best Picture probably.
I want to say, yes, Parasite winning is great, but I think and Bong Joon-Ho, at the end of every speech saying, "I will drink until next morning." That was really lovely.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but the things that I remember are some of the speeches and how personal they got. It kicked off with Brad Pitt first talking about the orange idiot in chief, and then it shifted into his personal like stuff about his parents taking him to see, I think it was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and he was kind of tearing up a bit towards the end.
Yeah, it was like Pitt's been in the game for like since like the 80s, and then this is kind of like a lifetime achievement Oscar.
Yeah,
and it finally paid off with he was basically just Cliff Booth on stage. He was literally that. Now, the one speech I felt really weird about was Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know. I think the phrasing of it, and when he started going into the seminating a cow, like that part, I was getting a bit thrown off. It came off weird to me.
I mean, he was pointing out the fact that we take things for granted, and we shouldn't.
The semination of the cow, we steal the milk from the mother. I was like, it just seems strange for a place to talk about it. I don't know. It seems strange.
Oh, apparently this is post Oscar. Some famous actor walked up to Joaquin Phoenix and said moo, and apparently he was not happy with it.
That is just weird.
Yeah. And everyone is speculating that it was Brad Pitt, but I doubt it.
I feel like Brad Pitt would do that, but I'm like, no, he wouldn't. I don't know. Joaquin seemed like he was going to go off on anybody who brought up, what was your process of becoming the Joker? Like, if someone said it one more time, I think he would just explode.
So tell me how you thought about Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
I was really conflicted about it when I left. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing about it that I really did not like about it was for 20 minutes, it would tell you the main story A. Mm-hmm. As the story went on, it would pause and be like, okay, here's a flashback. And in that flashback, there was one flashback that lasted almost 30 minutes. And once you get fully invested in that flashback, it's like, okay, let's go back to the present. It's like, what? It keeps boomeranging around different timelines and flashbacks. And it's like, let's go back to this. See this guy right here? Let's go back to this. And I'm like, whoa. Can we slow down? Please. It kept disrupting the flow. And I know like Snatch does it a lot, but those things lasted like 5 seconds. It was like gimmick, done. Mm-hmm. But then like Birds of Prey, it did it constantly whenever it tell you like, oh, who's this guy? And it would do like a 10-minute scene with the flashback. And it did a flashback of a flashback. And it went back to the main storyline. And it was like, okay, I'm like getting lost. Where are we at in the story? It felt very messy with the amount of cuts and flashbacks. It kept going back and forth. I don't know. It kind of ruined the flow of the film.
Do you want to explain the plot of the movie?
It's basically a MacGuffin film. Because Harley Quinn just broke up with the Joker and she wants to become emancipated from him. So she blows up a Ace Chemicals factory. And then Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor, decides to put a hit list on her. But then to get rid of the contract on her, she's going to go get a diamond for Black Mask to clear her name. And then basically this girl, who's a pickpocket, steals the diamond from a guy she didn't expect to have the diamond. And now Harley Quinn has to find the girl to clear her name. Here's the thing. This film focuses more on the spectacle and the carnivalesque more than actual like thematic ideas and story. Mm. I think story-wise and plot-wise, it was very weak and it was kind of thin. But then when it came to any of the fight scenes, the characters, and like the visuals, it was really good, honestly. Because one of the best scenes in the movie was when Harley Quinn had a hangover, and she describes a breakfast sandwich, and then the way they filmed the breakfast sandwich was so sensual and beautiful. Like This is the best shot DC film ever made.
Jesus.
It looked so well. Like it just the costume designer is the same one who worked on Neon Demon. So all the outfits are very intricate and they reflect the character really well. Now, because every time a new character came on screen, I was like, your outfit looks really good. There's only one character I had a major gripe with because I thought it was too cartoony, even for a comic book movie. But everyone looked so vivid and like not realistic, but their outfits had like a personality to them. One of my favorite characters was Isaac Zaz. He's a character from the books. His weird thing he uses knives, right? And every time he kills a person, he cuts himself in the face or on body. And to give him this outfit, it was like he got like pointed penny loafers, like leather, black pants, like they're like Gucci, and he wears like a vertical striped, colorful shirt, and he looked really good in it with bleached hair. I was like, that's an interesting interpretation of that character. Like I could see it. Like they did a really good job doing that. And then Black Mask too, McGregor, he's having a great time. I could tell he's having a fun time.
Yeah.
Like he's wearing these velvet suits. He's wearing like these golden gloves. I just think I don't think he knew what to do with the character because Black Mask is traditionally a very dangerous man and kind of toxic. He's a very toxic guy. In this film, he says "woo" a lot.
I heard that. Well, Ewan McGregor apparently said in an interview that his Black Mask is supposed to be gay.
Yeah, I could totally see it. I could totally see it. Because in the film, it was weird. Like Zaz, his name is Zaz in the comics. Him and Black Mask had like a weird bromance, but it felt more than a bromance. Like there was like, oh, he was like massaging. He was like, no worry, you're good. And I was like, are they gay? And I was like, would that make a difference if they're gay? I'm like, I don't know. But then like he would act like a really toxic guy to the female character. I was like, okay, maybe he's hetero because I don't know. It was interesting seeing this interpretation of Black Mask. Because there was a scene where he was wearing like eyeliner. I was like, okay, yeah, he's definitely gay. Like, come on. Velvet suit, the style, the syntax and the verbiage he would use made sense. I thought it was fine, the movie overall. There was one character I did not like. It was the cop character. And there's like the detective who's trying to figure out the mystery of Harley Quinn. Like, I gotta find Harley Quinn. And they even say it in the movie, oh, she acts like those 80s cops with cheesy lines. And throughout the movie, that's how she would talk, and it was annoying. I just thought, like, oh my god, please be quiet. Mary Elizabeth Winstead as a huntress, she was great. She was like the socially awkward person. I was like, okay, I see this. I don't know the actress's name who plays Black Canary, but she does a really good job. She's like, I'm assuming it's in Gotham, but it's kind of like a Bronx/Queens kind of look to the area where she lives in, and she's like a jazz singer. And then like, her outfits are so well made, and her personality really reflects Black Canary. Like she does jujitsu, so I'm like, okay, that's the character. I don't know if this is a spoiler. There's an action sequence. The setting where it takes place, they use the surroundings very well, and it's very creative. So it definitely this movie is very stylish. It's the most stylish DC film too. Like it has the most like flavor to it. It's a fun movie overall. When the editing cuts back and forth all the time, that's when I got frustrated the most when I was watching it. Because I'm like, just stick to the story. It went from like A plot to B to C to D to like H. And it felt like a long movie because of how much it shifted in pace in like the plots.
I need to complain about this. It's very important.
Here we go.
So Birds of Prey opened pretty much everywhere in the world. Like it opened in the US, Canada, UK, Australia, Chile, Spain, Mexico, even in Greece. Any major country you can think of. I mean, I'm not sure if Greece counts as a major country, but it's a well-known country. But not in Japan. I have to wait for another month and a half until this movie gets released.
That makes no sense. It's a superhero movie, so you would think it would be like shown worldwide.
It pisses me off. What are you doing, DC and Warner Brothers?
Japan has like its own film industry or something. Like they block out. They're like, let's block it off for a bit. Maybe is there any major Japanese films coming out right now in Japan or like no?
Not really.
then it makes no sense.
I mean, we have 1917 coming out this weekend.
Probably doesn't want to compete with that. So I don't know. I don't know what Japan's thinking.
I mean, Just Mercy comes out earlier than this movie.
Okay, that makes no sense. Yeah, Japan's all messed up. You guys are like in a blender of confusion.
All right. Now, can I talk about Aquaman because this movie is so much fun?
Oh, okay, yeah, go for it.
I love it.
I heard.
I mean, the first time around, it was It's pretty and kind of fun, but it was overall. But oh boy, if you know what's coming, like, second time around is so much better. This movie gets so much better with multiple viewings.
Did you have a drink of sake with it and just enjoy the spectacle?
Oh, I didn't need one. I had a blast watching Aquaman. And I'm going to say this. I know it's a big statement. This is the best looking movie in the DCEU, beating Wonder Woman, beating Shazam, beating BVS. And yeah, this movie is so colorful. It's the definition of an eye candy. You get to see laser sharks. You get to see talking crabs. You get to hear Julie Andrews voicing this giant squid-esque creature. You get to see Nicole Kidman in a predator costume.
Oh my god, predator costume.
And you get to see Jason Momoa basically just winking at you in every shot, just telling you, oh, I know how sexy I am.
Oh my god. I was saying, like, remember that Austin Powers quote where he's like, I want some sharks with freaking laser beams. That's Dr. Evil's dream movie.
You get to see that in Aquaman.
Sharks with freaking laser beams.
Laser sharks, man. And it's actually cool. Oh, and you get to see a drumming octopus. That's right, you heard it.
Oh my god.
Drumming octopus. And you get to see Amber Heard, who plays Mera. You get to see her wearing a dress that's made of jellyfish.
This movie sounds like a Little Mermaid, but like superhero.
I cannot be friends with someone who thinks this movie's bad. It's dumb. I will accept this movie is dumb. This movie is stupid. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. I accept all of that. But hearing this movie is bad? No. No thank you. Cannot be friends with you anymore.
I probably won't see it soon because I literally have no access to it.
Chris Stuckman, who I admire greatly, said that this felt like the live-action adaptation of some manga, like a Dragon Ball or something. And I totally agree.
That makes sense.
This movie is so over the top. It knows what it is. There are like several shots in the movie where, you know, you see Jason Momoa like giving you that look. Like you saw that in the trailer, like when he like enters the submarine and he's like, permission to come aboard or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they play like this like electric guitar with him like looking back. It's like, yes. Oh yes. He's so sexy. And the movie knows it.
Oh my god. This sounds like a Jason Momoa like festival.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Like I said, drumming octopus, Patrick Wilson in a slicked back hair which doesn't float. Everybody else's hair, Jason Momoa's float, but Patrick Wilson, it's so like solid. And Willem Dafoe is just, you know, getting a big paycheck. Somebody was asking him like, so like, do you prefer like big budget movies like riding on an imaginary shark, or do you prefer independent movies? And he was like, no, I like both of them.
That makes sense. Defoe, like, he wants his like Oscar-y kind of roles every so often, but he'll be an Aquaman character every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, he was fucking Harry, not Harry.
Norman Osborn.
Yeah, he was Norman Osborn. Watch Aquaman. It's so much fun. I had a great time. Wonder Woman is a better movie, but Aquaman is so much more fun.
Okay.
I would watch this movie over Wonder Woman again.
Oh no, I'd rather watch Wonder Woman again.
But you don't get to see Julie Andrews playing a squid, a giant squid, and an octopus. I don't know what it is. I think it's a combination of like a giant crab and octopus and a squid. And it's awesome.
I'll check it out when I have the opportunity, but I have no idea when that will be.
All of you watch Aquaman. It's so much fun.
The final quote of Hito before he becomes the next director of Aquaman 2.
Ooh, no, I don't want to do that.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, I can't do a $200 million movie. No, I don't have the knack for that.
So there you go, guys. 2 reviews of DC films. One I found very fun, yet very frustrating to watch. And the other one, as Hito says,
the most bonkers entry in the DCEU.
Okay, that makes sense.
I love it. So before we wrap up this week's episode, we're going to start a new thing, and it's called our DVD picks of the week. Well, I guess no one really uses physical media anymore. So like in some cases, it's going to be just like added to your watch list kind of thing.
Currently, I have my DVDs back here in San Francisco, and one copy of it, I love rewatching this movie over and over again. It's a Pedro Almodovar film. It's called Woman on the Verge of a Mental Breakdown, and it's a screwball comedy film with 80s dark humor with Spanish culture in it. It's Antonio Banderas, one of his first roles. It's hilarious. The humor's dark and has critiques on marriage, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I highly recommend it. It's available on Criterion. What about you, Hito?
I'm gonna pick Miss Americana, which I talked about last week, but I decided to cut it out because Ricardo can testify this, but I was rather all over the place last week, and my argument for that movie made no sense, so I'm just gonna talk about it here. It's great. It's on Netflix. It's a Taylor Swift documentary. I'm not a big fan of Taylor Swift. I'm a casual fan of hers. There are some songs of hers that I really like, and then there's the rest. And I learned so much about her, and I have more appreciation for her as a musician and as a young woman. She gets fairly candid about things that happened to her in the last couple of years. I learned a lot, and I like her more as a person. And yeah, you should watch it. It's on Netflix. It's pretty great.
To wrap it up, you can follow us on, what was the Twitter name? Minority Opinions Pod. Twitter.
The Twitter handle is MinorityOPod.
And then you can follow us on Instagram with Minority Opinions Pod.
And you can send us a letter at minorityopodcast@gmail.com. You can, if you have requests or reviews that you want us to do, if you want to tell us how much you loved Aquaman, send it over there. And also subscribe and review us on Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. And one final thing, I want to give a big shout out to my best friend Alejandro. He did the cover image and the profile picture on Patreon. I love you, man. Thank you so much. And I couldn't have done this without your help.
I didn't know he did it, by the way. I had no idea. Thank you so much for that, too.
And we will see you all next week
On Minority Opinions Podcast. Thank you.